to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Today, my friend Marilyn Watson-LaVergne joins us on the podcast. I met Marilyn a few high points ago, but I knew right away in that first conversation she was one of those hashtag smart ladies. Marilyn's first career was as a publicist in New York City, working in marketing and public relations. In this role, she witnessed firsthand the progression of branding for products and creative service providers, including interior designers. She became so fascinated with design and its impact that she decided to enroll in Parsons School of Design. Later, she joined Cabinets to Go, a leading cabinetry retailer. Hundreds of kitchen and bathroom designs later, Marilyn realized it was time to take her passion out on her own. In 2019, Marilyn went solo and launched Marilyn LaVergne Interiors, a full-service interior design studio. She had to dig deep, and you'll hear her today, but she did find that thing inside her that sets her apart, and she uses that to find her ideal clients. Today, Marilyn designs residential and boutique commercial interiors for clients that not only want to enjoy their space, but they want to showcase their values and amplify their aspirations. It doesn't stop there, though. Marilyn has been piloting career development workshops through the Kaleidoscope Project for BIPOC interior design students at High Point University. And she helped to launch the Diversity Task Force for ASID New Jersey, which has influenced the organization's overall commitment on a national level to promote DEI practices throughout our industry. We just had a great two-part conversation recently with Jessica Bantam on how to be a culturally competent interior designer. And I encourage you to listen to both of those episodes. We'll link them in the show notes and make this part of your commitment as a good partner in the interior design industry. Today, Marilyn is going back to her PR days and talking to us about brand positioning and digging deep within ourselves to find the thing that sets each of us apart. Because as she explains, our clients don't buy what we do. They buy who we are and what we believe. I'm so excited to share this conversation with Marilyn with you. Hi, Marilyn. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
LuAnn, thanks so much for inviting me to join you.
I'm happy to have you today. We've been talking about it for about a year.
At least that long.
Right? And so here's the thing that I want to share, which happens all the time to me. Two things. Sometimes only one happens. Sometimes both happens. Is that, I meet you in real life. We hit it off and I'm like, hey, you got to get on the show. Right. But then two things, one or two things can happen. And one is when I read about you and your bio, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that about this person. So I'm super excited to find out some of the things I didn't know. But the other thing that happens is typically and often on an intake form, you'll hit me with a line that I'm just like, I love it. And the line that you hit me with is, clients don't buy what we do. They buy what we believe. So start me off there. Why that line? Why did you include that?
LuAnn, I'm going to tell you that has become a mantra for me as I've been building my business. That line also kind of stopped me when I first heard it as well. It is a line by Simon Sinek. He is a sales guru, geek, trainer, entrepreneur, who has written several books on the topic of selling and brand positioning. And what I realized was that everywhere we turn, decisions that we make, buying decisions that we make, mostly are based on what that brand believes or what we believe in ourselves or for ourselves that that brand is promoting. So for example, Nike, you know, there's a lot of sneaker companies out here, but Nike really promotes what they believe, whether it's, what's internally in the athlete or what's happening in popular culture. And that translates to buying decisions that we make. It's the same, I think, with interior design. I think that clients make decisions based on um, how we as designers are able to capture what they believed even before they met us, right? And so that is a thing that I think many designers don't capture for themselves. And therefore, many of my colleagues are leaving money on the table, not realizing that.
So, what's interesting is I I know who Simon Sinek is, but I'm not familiar with that line, right? So
Mm.
I'm not read extensively on him, right? But the thing that's interesting is I thought it was going to have a different twist on it, but I
Ah,
like the twist that you're explaining. So I was thinking, I took it as, if I don't believe in me, why would you believe in me?
correct,
I
correct.
which is obviously also true, correct, right?
Sure,
Right?
sure.
But what you're saying is, when you use the example of Nike,
Mm,
Nike in their advertising is constantly educating the consumer on what the Nike culture, what the company Nike
absolutely.
believes, right? And
Yes,
so
yes.
I'm getting that now, because now I could be like, well, I wear Nikes because Nikes think athletes are this, or you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, so I get what Simon is saying. He's teaching us that we have to show people who and what we are and what we believe, because those who think like us will then gravitate to us, right?
Absolutely. And let me just expand on that just one step further. What we do and what we do is design interiors. What we do proves what we believe. In other words, we live in a world where some people can devalue interior design. And I know you and I were speaking earlier. We could be order takers who just, are professional furniture shoppers. We're not. We're designers. We believe in the work that we do. We believe in the impact that it has for our clients. And it's because of that that clients hire us. Otherwise, they would just go to a retail store and say, bag me up a sofa, two chairs, a cocktail table, and two lamps, right?
Well, that's it, right? I mean, that's it.
Exactly.
Because you can go to some box retail stores where it's
Yes.
all laid out, and technically, quote unquote, it's designed, right? That all goes together.
That's certainly the way it's packaged and sold, and for many people, that's good enough.
Right.
What we're doing and what we do as professionals is far different than that. There's a lot of nuance to the work, there's a lot of expertise to the work, there's a lot of customizing of the work, and that's the part of it that we really have to believe in. I know that many of my colleagues are sometimes afraid or reluctant to charge more for the work that they do, but I believe as strongly as ever that we're worth every penny that we set down on a proposal for our clients.
Mhm. 100%. And so what you're saying is, and obviously what I love is, this was the other aha that I mentioned, is that, you have a background in marketing and brand strategy, which is like, oh, like, okay, I didn't know that whole part about you.
It's all true. I did interior design is my second career, but my first career actually did lead me to this. As a marketing professional, I worked for a number of leading public relations firms in New York City. So Hill and Knowlton, Burson Marsteller. I worked a lot in entertainment with the Terry Williams Agency. And one of the things that you learn, when you are in that service, is that brands do this. They distinguish themselves. So I'll date myself a little bit and share with you that I was part of the team that launched Love's Baby Diapers.
Oh,
Diapers
wow.
were already out here in the world. There were a lot of diaper companies out here, but they made at the time, so let's go, this is the late 80s. They made, how should I say this? Gender facilitating diapers. right? This was their claim to
What do you mean?
fame.
Like they made boy and girl diapers? Is
Yeah,
that what
they
we're
made
trying
boy
to say?
and girl diapers. That's what they made boy diapers and girl diapers.
Okay.
And I just remember thinking, there's diapers out here in the world. Do people really need that? But you know what? That brand really took off based on that one specific thing.
Yeah.
Haagen-Dazs ice cream was another brand that I worked on, and there was ice cream out here, but they marketed and leveraged the message that theirs was the highest gourmet ice cream out here.
Yes.
So I think that as designers, we have to look inward and determine what is the thing that sets us apart from our peers, our
Right.
colleagues. And for different designers, that'll be a different thing. But I often advise my colleagues in this business to look inward at what was the thing that you got into this for. What
Mm.
was it? What drew you to this? Because if that was the thing that drew you into this, that's the thing you're most passionate about, and that's going to be the highest service offering that you have to share with your clients.
I love that. And so it's kind of like we talk about our Fred Burns only, right?
Yeah,
Like what is
absolutely. Absolutely.
right?
This really is very it's parallel to exactly what Fred has said and is saying all the time. And I think sometimes people hear that and they go, "Well, I don't have an only," but you
Right.
do.
You do.
You just I don't know what the next person's only is, but I think the way to uncover that in ourselves is to go to the drawing board. What part of this work do I love doing the most? What
Mm.
part of this work just comes easy for me? And that requires a little bit of soul searching. Myself, and I sort of try to have a little offsite conference with myself. I'm a solopreneur, so um we don't have a company retreat. I just have a retreat.
Good for you,
and,
Marilyn.
one of the first things that I do is say to myself, why did you want to go into business?
Mm.
Why did you want to go into business rather than working for someone else? What part of the work that you do you love doing the most? What part of the work that you do you connect with your clients the most? That is a thing that I think a lot of times people, um, you start out as an entrepreneur, and the first client you get says, "Well, I need you to design my patio." So you go, "Great, now I do patios." And the next person comes in and says, "You know what? It's my daughter's wedding. Can you design the wedding?" Now you're an event producer. The next person comes in and they say, "We need a home office." And now so you can't be all things to all people. You really have got to hone in on what is what is your only, to borrow from Fred, but what is the thing that you believe so strongly in that draws clients to you and that you're able to serve them with your best and highest service offering.
Mm. So for you, what are some of those answers? What is the thing that got you into this? Why did you switch careers and all of that?
So I first switched careers because during my marketing days. So this is another brand story. DuPont Carpet Fibers.
Mm.
They were introducing Stainmaster technology in the fibers for their carpet. My job was to go out and work with designers to find stories about, how this technology was applied in various different jobs that they did. And that first drew my interest in interior design. So I might be, at 4 o'clock in the morning at LaGuardia Airport at the Pan Am shuttle, talking about how, the traffic here, there's in and out traffic, but look how well the carpet stands up. And I was fascinated by what designers did and the impact that that had on the brand Pan Am. I see we don't even have that anymore. The impact on,
Next, you're going to tell me about Continental, right?
well, now I have a story. No, I'm just kidding. But I recognized that design, it had an impact that was social emotional,
Mm.
that was it it had an impact on how the airport operated and functioned for people, and most important, it had an impact on the profitability of this airline that was, running a shuttle from New York to Boston, New York to Washington, New York to Philadelphia. I mean, imagine that you need to get on a plane to go to Philadelphia, but people did do that on a regular basis. Um, and so from there, it became something that I was interested in. I think my interest grew into a passion, and I think that passion drove me to going to school at Parsons. And from there, I think that I just never looked back.
Wow.
And what I enjoyed the most at first was, like I said, the impact that design has on interior spaces and how people receive those spaces. As time went on, I began to see that what people were interested in, and this was during an economic downturn several years ago, people were really interested in kitchens and bathrooms
Mm,
because that's where the value of the house is, in the kitchen and the bathroom.
right.
And so I um, I took a really great job at Cabinets to Go. And any designers listening that are familiar with Cabinets to Go, they are huge on HGTV and DIY Network. And it was a great experience. One, to learning how to sell.
Mm,
Um, Two, certainly understanding some elements of the technology of this work. But also, again, it was the opportunity to see over and over and over again the satisfaction that clients got from the transformation of that part of their home. The
mm,
kitchen is the heart of the home, and
yes.
the more I did it, the more I really loved it. I got to a point certainly where I felt that I could design a kitchen with half my brain tied behind my head. So there was a certain amount of it that became um, a, a routine. Um,
Non-challenging.
but yeah, but I never got over the just the satisfaction and the excitement that clients get from that, and that became the kind of thing that from there I drew people's trust. And they certainly, a friend would tell their friend, and their friend would tell another friend. And I really was building quite a business, and then decided to come back out and go on my own. And kitchens and baths has been kind of, where I've started. And my business has grown and blossomed from there. But I will say that uh, having the understanding of the impact of that one part of design really helped my business to grow and develop.
I love it. I love it. So, when you go out and convey your brand message to your potential consumers,
Yes,
how do you package that? How do you package the fact that I hear you that I'm standing in an airport and I'm looking at a rug that's holding up, and you're standing in an airport and you're thinking, this is saving this airline company money because
yes,
it's this and this is looking good and this is providing, la la la. It's not staining and looking like a hot mess in a minute. Like you're literally going, wow, there's 16 ways that this rug matters in this space, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And so, and I think this is a principle that's applicable to just about, any public space, private space, private residence, hotel, everywhere we go, I look at the impact that design has. And I think that when I'm meeting with clients, that's kind of the first thing I'm talking about. It's the first thing I'm asking questions about. I'm wanting to hear, where can my service have the greatest impact for this client in front of me? So I find it important to ask a lot of questions. My response is probably going to come from the same place. Um, you know, uh, where can we make a difference? Where can we make this person happier? And there's two things that I'm looking to be able to provide to clients. Number one, where can I solve a problem? Right, and I'm looking for a high pain point there. Or where can I take advantage of an opportunity for them that they can't take advantage of right now?
Mm,
So someone comes to me and says, we had a flood a couple of weeks ago. We were away on vacation. We came back and the whole kitchen was destroyed.
good.
So that they have a problem that we need to solve.
Right.
Um, and I'm going to walk them through certainly solving the immediate problem, but also taking a look at before this happened, what didn't you like about that space before that you want to correct or change right now? You see, I've switched from a problem to an opportunity,
Got it.
right? And there are times that someone comes to me and says, we need to we need to style the house. Can you stage the house? That's not a service I do, by the way. It's just it's sort of out of my way. But can you do some staging for the house? We're getting ready to sell the house. Well, I could, but let's talk further about what's the outcome that you're desiring here? Well, to get the highest possible price. Well, then let's take a look at those plumbing areas, the kitchen and bathroom. Certainly, I can add, furniture to the other spaces, but I'm looking at there an opportunity. We have an opportunity to maximize the selling price of this property. This is your one big investment. Let's maximize it. And so those are the ways in which I like to approach clients and be able to identify ways that the work I'm doing is having impact in their life, or bringing for them the best and highest outcome that they're looking for right then.
Okay. And the thing is, when like a few moments ago you said a lot of your colleagues are like, I don't have this differentiator, I don't have this only. And I
Yes.
have to tell you, I've had, if I've had one, I've had 50 say the same thing to me. I don't have an only. And you mentioned, you do have to look inside. And it's the thing, what I've found is sometimes it's so close to you that you don't
Yes.
realize it's the special thing, right?
Right. Right. Absolutely. I see that over and over again. You know, I've had people say, "Well, maybe I think I'm good at color."
Mm.
But that's not high enough value, so I don't talk about. I hear people will say that kind of thing, right? Or,
Mhm.
well, I sort of have a knack for selecting materials and doing so quickly. Well, it's deeper than that, though. It's deeper than just selecting materials. What is it that you think? What is it that you're doing about selecting materials that could distinguish you? Now, again, this is where you have to do some soul searching, perhaps send yourself on a retreat, a nice hotel somewhere. No alcohol should be involved because you got to keep a clear head for this.
Well, you're no
Um,
fun.
but I know, right? Where's the fun in that? Where is the fun in that?
I
But
get it though. We're
I,
getting work done. We're getting good work done.
yeah, exactly. But I say to people, it could be, and perhaps that was not the best example about selecting materials, but sometimes it could be, our only is identified in our culture. It could
Mm.
be identified in our heritage or past experiences.
Mhm.
um, it could be identified in, um, you know, that you become expert at a particular space, right?
Mhm.
Designing a particular space. um, and this is the part where I say to people, hey, let's sit down and let's soul search together sometimes. I do find it helpful to bounce these ideas sometimes off of a friend. But one of the things that I know for sure is that I see it and hear it in designers who do seem to have the courage to tap into that and lead with that when they're out, doing their work.
Mm.
Um, you know, and let me just say this, LuAnn. Once you identify what that is, I think it's important to then look for the customer that needs that. And
Right.
I and needs is really the important word. And so this too is counterintuitive. What I'm suggesting is that you're really going to narrow your focus about who you're going to work for. And once you get in that space, you want to be the biggest, loudest voice in that space that there is. Um, I think it's Celery Kemble who started her business. Um, basically identifying, I'm gonna design for single men who can afford interior design and who are ready for interior design. That's a pretty specific
That's right. That's
niche,
right. That's
but
right.
look at the business that she built. I mean, it almost, I'm sure for a lot of people, they're like, she's got that covered. I can't do that. Um,
Well,
um,
there's room for more though, you know what I
I
mean?
think
Whatever,
there's definitely room for more.
and you're gonna bring a different twist on it, even if you do the
Correct.
same thing, you know? It's
Correct.
funny because, you know Denise Pugh, right? Like,
Yes,
I'm
I
sure we
do.
both
Yes,
talked
I
together at the same time.
do.
So I coached Denise. Denise was in my chairman of the board program, and I think
Yes.
probably this maybe first or second meeting we had, and that's where I talk about it's something you do that doesn't seem different that the outside person. So we were, this is a few years ago. She is, I mean, oh my god, this is probably 4 years ago at this point, and this was a year before because it was 2019, I think I coached her. So
Oh,
she's come
wow.
a
Okay, that
long
is going
way.
back a little
Yeah,
ways.
yeah, yeah, she's come a long way, and I think, it's hard to even remember a Denise who was sitting across from me and going, "I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is that I'm gonna go out and put my claim on," right? But what
Yes.
was interesting the reason I bring this up is twofold. Number 1, I do know that we're often too close to it to see it. And you, number 2, saying sometimes it's helpful to bounce it out with a friend because
Yes.
when she started, I was like, okay, so let me talk to me. Like I was doing the same thing. What do you like? What do you do? Why do you love it? What's a blah, blah, blah. And then we were starting to look at her portfolio and I'm looking at, I will never forget this. I'm looking at like these 2 or 3 kitchens that she designed that
Mm.
were in New York City apartments. They were these tiny, tiny things. And she's like, I love a good gourmet kitchen. I love a good kitchen that has a wine thing and it has a this and a that and the other thing. And I figured out how to get these things into this kitchen. I'm like, what? Like, what? And I looked at her,
There
I
it
said,
is.
this is your thing, sweetie. I'm like, this is your thing that you are the person. Because, New York City is loaded with people who are loaded, but they don't all have the 4,000 square foot apartments. Some
So
of them
true.
have the 1,800
Yeah.
square
Yeah.
foot ones because those stupid things go for $4 million.
Yeah,
Like,
they
let's be
do.
serious, right? And so,
Yes.
if I have a $4 million apartment, I don't care if the kitchen is 40 square feet. I still want it to be amazing, right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
this is her superpower. She understands the quality that the luxury consumer wants, and she
Mhm.
understands how to space plan it in this tiny place in order to have the combination of beauty and function. And I remember having this discussion with her. She's like, but I do other design too. I'm like, it's fine. Lead with this. Get them in
Lead
through
with
the
this.
door with this. And then
Absolutely.
if they want you to design the living room next to it, you'll say yes, of course.
Of course you will. That is such an excellent example.
Yeah.
She didn't realize that it was right there, right in
Because
front of
to
her
her, it's
there.
what she does. She just,
Right.
"Hey, what's so hard about that?" I'm like, "What's so hard about that?" Like,
You know what? No, that is very hard. It's very hard to design a small kitchen as opposed to a large kitchen.
well, I'm
Um,
sorry. If I have 200 square feet, I can fit it all in. If I
y-
got 40 square feet, we got some
we
troubles.
we have right, right. We got
We have to
problems.
be
I mean,
creative. And I'm
just
saying square footage
imagine.
like I know how many square feet a kitchen is. Don't mind me.
Well, no, but you're not so off base there because and she and I actually are very good friends. It's funny you mentioned Denise because I was just on the phone with her last night.
Oh, for crying out
Um,
loud.
yeah, I mean we really we're very good friends. She does have a knack for being able to design kitchens in that way, but designing them with luxury. Like she didn't
Yes,
just say, "Here it is,"
that's right.
5 feet this way, 6 feet that way. There you done. I think that it's the the detail that she applies to it that distinguishes her from walking into a big box store and they say, "Give me your measurements. Okay, it's here. There you go."
And that's the whole journey that Marilyn and I want you to take from the lesson that we're using as the example of our friend Denise is the
Yes.
journey is that the luxury consumer whether their kitchen is this big or like yay big, they still want a luxury kitchen.
Yes, they
And
do.
what I saw in her off the bat was her ability. And like I said, I was joking, but you can have a 1,500 square foot apartment in the city that's $3 and $4 million.
So
So
true. So
this is
true.
not your box store client.
It's
They're
just
not
not.
going into the box store and saying, I spent 4 million on an apartment. Would you do no? And here's why, because they want the service of it, not because even the
Yes.
average Garden Friday consumer thinks that they're not going to get a beautiful kitchen at the box store.
Right,
They just
right.
know intrinsically they're not going to get the service from the
Correct.
box store.
Correct.
And so then you get the bonus elevated design is the bonus elevated. And then, of course, you have all the people that you could market to that absolutely understand already that they want a luxury designer, right?
Absolutely. So a thing that I love that you just said was emphasizing the service.
Yeah,
We are as designers, we are not a commodity. Even when we scale our businesses up, we're not a commodity. Sometimes I've had people say to me, "Well, a commodity? Well, what do you mean? What do you mean?" Um, you know, we we go to Starbucks in the morning. We pay, 3 times, 4 times more for a cup of coffee than we would at another
quick
place.
check. You know
In
what I mean?
fact,
Yeah.
many people who work from home will go to Starbucks and come back
I
instead of
know
make a cup at home. But it's because of this specialized experience.
the ritual of it,
Now,
right?
exactly, it's the ritual of it. It's the barista knows my name. It's the fact that they're named a barista.
That's
Um,
exactly. Let's go there.
and that I can go in there and I'm enjoying a specialized experience, and I'm willing to pay more for that experience, even if more today is more than it was last year and more than it's going to be. I'm sorry, and I expect it to be more later. It's still worth it to me.
Mhm.
A commodity is if I could just run over to the Acme and they've got a bag of Starbucks in the back somewhere.
Right.
um, and that's not who we are. That's not what we're doing. That's not our customer,
Right.
who's looking for a commodity. And that's what I was getting at earlier, is knowing that you have a specialized service designer. That means you have a specialized client. It's not going to be a lot of clients out there, but you don't need a lot. You need enough. Um, and that's where, I say we've got to be able to identify, after you figure out your only, who is your minimum viable, meaning has enough money to afford your service, but your minimum viable buyer, customer, client, however we want to finish that. But
Right.
that's where we have to, we really have to narrow down who we're talking to, because if we mean everything to everybody, then we actually mean nothing to anybody.
Right. 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 100%. And the
Yeah.
funny thing is one of the things that sometimes, and I'm sure you've found in your conversations with your colleagues as well, is the knee jerk to, I can't exclude people, right? Like, I don't want to exclude
Yes,
opportunities.
yes, yes.
But, like, when you go back to your original, thing with Nike, just do it, right?
Yeah,
Just do it speaks to the athlete. Just do it,
absolutely.
right? Nike
Absolutely.
doesn't care that the person out there that is like, I'd really just like to go for a walk without turning it into a competitive event. Like,
Yes,
they don't care if they don't want their sneakers. They don't care. There's enough athletic minded people and
correct.
enough people who actually aren't athletes anymore, but still identify as
But
them and feel better when they put their stuff on.
that's it exactly. I think that when you put on your Nike sneakers, you feel like an athlete.
Yeah.
And you feel like an athlete at the height of their game. And
Yes.
that's what stops us in our tracks when you see a commercial, a Nike commercial. That's how come we recognize the
Swoosh.
symbol,
Yep.
and it means something to us. It means to us serious athleticism,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Um,
Or I'm aspiring to feel and be that, right? It's like,
absolutely,
yep, I'm not
absolutely.
getting like
I
kids,
I
I'm
may be a
getting
little
Nikes.
out of shape, but I feel like an athlete, you
Think
know?
about it. Think about it. Are you going to go start an exercise program in kids? You're not. You're not.
No,
You're
no,
going to
you're
show up at the
not.
gym and you're going to feel like I'm not really serious. I know everybody knows I'm not serious. Like
Right,
heads
I'm not
up.
a serious athlete here. That's exactly it. That's
They taught us the brand. They taught us the
they
brand.
they
And
really did. They
And this is
really
what I was
did.
saying to Denise. I'm like, teach your potential clients you are the expert in high-end luxury kitchens for small spaces. You will get the
Absolutely.
rest of the work because that person,
Absolutely.
because here's what I said to her, that person that has the little apartment in New York City has the huge house out in the Hamptons.
And
And once they love you, you're theirs.
so true. LuAnn, that is so true. I have a client now who I'm doing her kitchen in Harlem, and she's buying a second home in North Carolina. And the other day she said, "Hey, the kitchen's already done because this is a brand new place, but I need you to furnish the whole thing."
You got to do the
And
rest. You're
and
my
and that's
person.
exactly that is the thing that I don't want folks to get lost on. Selecting your only or starting with your only does not mean that there isn't going to be an expansion into other work, more work in other ways. But I think that it's really important to be real clear about what position you want to be in and lock in on that one position.
100%. You have to own a spot. You have to own a
Yes,
spot. You
yes,
have to
yeah.
be able to differentiate yourself. Nicole Heimer calls it your point of differentiation, your
Ah,
POD.
yes, yes,
Yep.
yes. The point of differentiation.
Yes. Yep.
I
Yep.
think
She's
that's
like,
the
what's
word.
your POD? What's your POD? She's like,
Yeah,
every time we're like talking about something, because, she's the creative director over here, right?
yes.
So every time we're like, oh, we're going to, she goes, well, what's the POD? Like, LuAnn, what are you trying to say? What's different? Why should they go to LuAnn Live? What's different about it? I'm like, come on,
Sure.
Nicole.
Yeah, no, but that
Makes me
really
think
is
every day.
that's how people make decisions. And one other thing that I want to say, I cannot remember who I learned this from, but clients make an emotional decision again based on what they believe that you believe. And then they will do whatever they have to do to support that with facts,
That's right.
right? Um, I know that, I'm giving you an example here. A client says to themselves, geez, interior design is something new that I haven't done before, and I'm getting ready to jump off the ledge, but I'm going to hire so and so, insert name of designer. I'm going to hire so and so because they have experience in doing this one particular thing. They've done this 57 times in the last 3 years. My neighbor's design came out so beautifully. Whatever it is that they have to say, but all of us make decisions based on um, how we feel emotionally first. And if it's a bigger decision, and I'll be specific, if it's if it's going to put us in a financial situation that we hadn't been in before, we definitely need those kinds of facts to back up and support that decision. And that's where I think as designers, we need to be able to articulate quickly and succinctly and with credibility. Um, Here, client, here are the reasons why we need to proceed with this project.
Yeah. No, I love all of that. Talking, it's like, it's, again, just, Denise is literally gonna Voxer me. She can be like, I'm sorry, why did you talk about me that whole show? That's what she's gonna say.
It is, I
Totally
know,
is.
right?
But
It's
it
true.
right, I know it is. But it's like, it's to use her as example again, it's the facts were there first.
Correct.
I saw the evidence of the facts and I just helped her identify it. And so the reverse cannot be true. It cannot be that I say I'm exceptional at designing luxury small kitchens and therefore I say that I am, so I must be.
So I
No,
must be,
yeah,
right.
you have to own the thing. The evidence has to be there.
Absolutely.
You have to have the chops to do what you say you're going to do. But actually, what you and I are actually saying through this entire podcast, it isn't the absence of a superpower that most designers struggle with. It's the absence of seeing the evidence in front of them that
Yes,
already exists and
yes.
then leaning into it,
And
right?
and that's what we have to sometimes do, get in front of the mirror and, tell the testimony about the great work that we do. I remember when I decided to go out on my own and I thought, well, I'm just going to go into design. And what I was getting was people asking me about kitchens because that's what people knew that I did.
Right.
And at first I was like, well, no, 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 that's not really what I want to do. But I began to start to say to myself, listen, in the last year, you have designed more than 100 kitchens. That's a lot of kitchens. The year before that, you did at least that many. I mean, if it's 8 to 10 kitchens a month times 12 months a year, it's a lot of kitchens. So I said, geez, I really need to step into the circle, the kitchen designing circle, with both feet and be enthusiastic about that because that really is my center of expertise and broaden out from there. And that has really worked a lot for me.
And I mean, what's more technical than a kitchen? I
I
mean,
know.
like if you've got 8 years and 100 kitchens a year, whatever it is, like
Yes.
I don't think you could do a floor plan of furniture. Like
Right,
seriously,
exactly, 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 and that's
right?
so true.
Yeah. So that is, I think that is really in a nutshell the message, right, of this conversation. It's you have something, you may not see it, and it might be because it's so close to what you do that you don't
Yes,
realize how valuable it is. So there's so far less chance that you're going to claim a superpower or an only and not really own it. There's a very
correct.
small possibility of that happening, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I mean, it's a sure thing that this is the kind of science that's already in you. It's
Yeah.
it's already in you, it's around you. It just does require some, like I said, some soul searching, perhaps a little luxury retreat for yourself. Um
Or
and for some
to
of
your
us,
point, somebody else to point it out to you, right?
absolutely.
You don't have to hire a business coach to find out, right? You could sit down
Correct.
and get a bestie and be like, "Let's just do a Zoom little retreat for ourselves together, half a
Absolutely.
day." You know,
Absolutely.
like, I literally, it does sometimes just take somebody else seeing your portfolio, your work, hearing you describe what you do, and then all of a sudden, what the other person sees, now you see it in their eyes, and you're like, "Oh, yeah."
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
it's an affliction of the industry, right? Not
well,
to
it
give
is.
yourself
I
credit.
think I think that because this is creative work and because we do have colleagues and it's moderately competitive, I think it's easy to as we say struggle with imposter syndrome like, well,
Mhm.
there's so many people out here. I can't I'm sure I'm not saying something new or different. I'm just doing what they're doing and the only way I could distinguish myself is and this I just feel for so many of our colleagues that people will say, well, I'll distinguish myself by lowering my price, or I'll
Ugh,
distinguish myself by creating a package that is more of a bargain. That's not, we're not a commodity. I
no.
mean, that's, chasing a price downward, that's what it
Mm-mm.
is to commodify a thing.
That's
Um,
right.
you have to know that what you're doing, I mean, what you're offering is a solution to a really big problem or you're capturing an opportunity. But either way, you are leaving your client in a better position than they were before the two of you met.
Oh my goodness. That is the mic drop right there. That's like I love that, Marilyn. It's just so concise and it's so true. And it's something that I think if you need to rewind and listen to that 6, 7, 8, 10 times, just put
Yeah,
those words of Marilyn in your head because that is the secret sauce. Solve a problem or create an opportunity. If you can do those things, you're like the Pied Piper and your client will follow you to the ends of the earth because
absolutely.
like, right? Like that's the thing,
Absolutely.
you know?
Thanks for saying that. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. You are a rock star. I'm so glad that we met. I'm so glad. You're a Jersey girl. Come on. Like, I mean,
I am a Jersey girl for real. Now I've lived here longer than I've lived anywhere else. I consider that this is where I've raised my
you
kids
get
and
in your
created
blood. right? We get a new
Exactly,
job.
exactly. I'm here. This is where they'll plant me in the ground one day.
Yeah.
That's
Well, and your kids are
long
born
time.
here, so they're definitely
Correct.
Jersey.
Okay, they are definitely Jersey. They are definitely Jersey, and they claim Jersey. My kids are kind of all over the place. One in Nashville, one in LA, one in New York City, one in Ithaca, New York. But everywhere they go, they are proud to say, "I'm from New Jersey."
Yeah, why not, right?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Well, it was so nice talking with you. I love you. You really did share some very hard hitting, necessary, not unkind, but truths. Like just sit with them. Like you said, plan a retreat for yourself. If you have a team, do it with the team. But this
Yes,
is the work of getting to the essence of what you deliver to your clients. And when you can get to that
exactly.
essence, right, then there's no competition. It's just you and the people who want that.
Exactly. I love that. That is so true. It really is. It's just you and the clientele that you've identified.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with me today, Marilyn.
LuAnn, thanks so much for having me. This was great.
Did you hear it? Let me repeat it. You are not a commodity. Interior design is not a commodity. I know it can be frustrating to see people shopping at the big box stores, but don't pay attention. That's not what you do. It's not what you offer. Let them go, right? Those are not your clients. And by the way, some people who do get some things at big box stores, even home decor related, sometimes are your client, but they know the difference. The people who know the difference, okay? And the sooner that you know the difference and the sooner that you find your only, the sooner you will find your clients, you will find your people. Okay. This is a true aha moment here. And we have noted it in the show notes. I don't know if you know that, but if you look at your app, and you scroll to the bottom, we will timestamp certain things that a guest says, or maybe I say that we're like, pay attention to this. So it's in the show notes, but I'm going to say it once again for you because I know someone listening needs to hear it. Marilyn said, you have to know that what you're offering is a solution to a really big problem. Or you have to know that you are capturing an opportunity. Okay. But either way, she said, you are leaving your client in a better position than they were before the two of you met. Okay. That person, that client will be in a better position than they were before you met them. And yes, a lot of it is about the design you give them, but it is so much more than that. It's about how that design is going to impact their lives. And that design, which will ultimately affect their lives for the better, remember, is because of you and what you did and what you believe in. Right? I do understand Simon Sinek's quote so much better now, and I'm grateful for Marilyn for sharing it, okay, with us today. Clients don't buy what we do. They buy what we believe. If you don't know Simon Sinek, take a minute today and watch his TED Talk. We'll also link that in the show notes. It's powerful, all right? We cannot be all things to all people. Marilyn is sure of that. But when we dig deep, we discover what we truly believe and bring that truth to the world. That's when we find our ideal clients. It does start with niching. We've talked about this time and time again here on the podcast. The riches are in the niches. But how do we find our niche? How do we find our only? You've heard me say his name a million times. We have to go back to our Fred Burns only. Well, go back to listen to episode 174. It's in the show notes and hear what Fred has to say about finding your only words. Fred has been on the show many times, always with sound advice, but I would start with this episode and begin that process. Okay. And it's pretty excellent timing too, because if you are listening to the show in real time, the very next episode this week on Power Talk Friday is with Fred Burns. Okay. That's right. He's back. Okay. So super excited to share that with you in a couple of days. Now, to Marilyn's point though, sometimes this process of identifying your only, of your point of differentiation, as Nicole Heimer of Glory and Brand calls it, sometimes it takes some help. it's kind of like all the things that we do. It takes a village, right? I mentioned mine and Marilyn's mutual friend, Denise Pugh. And when Denise and I went through my chairman of the board program together, we worked through this process for her. Her only talent for her what her only is, right? It's not her only talent. That came out wrong. One of her onlys that she can lead with is designing abundant, luxurious, chef-worthy kitchen spaces in tiny Cracker Jack box New York City apartments. Okay. When I saw this ability of hers, it was a gold mine. I knew she was sitting on it. And the thing is, that's what she did. She didn't realize how unique and how special it was. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that Denise is destined to only design small kitchens or that she actually only wants to do small space apartment designs. No. But as I said, there is a very high percentage of people in New York City who will be attracted to her ability to design luxury in a small space that also happen to have 12,000, 20,000, 30,000 square foot homes in the Hamptons. Just saying, right? So a niche like this gives her a good lead-in to the more full-scale projects, which of course she is 100% capable of doing. All right, this one aspect of her work identifies her as a specialist, an expert in intimate kitchen spaces for the luxury consumer. Okay, and my friends, this is not a commodity. This is not go to the box store and design a kitchen that we're talking about. And the luxury consumer in New York City will recognize this talent in Denise. Okay, so this is what it takes to get you that mic drop moment of Marilyn's, right? You have to clearly define either the problem your work will solve or the opportunity it will create for your client in order to establish yourself as the irreplaceable designer in their particular world. Okay, because you do want to have an impact. Okay, and you have an impact to make. I know you do. Marilyn knows you do too. That's why she got into this business in the first place. She saw the power of interior design, and that power is inside each and every one of you. Now, Marilyn suggests taking yourself on a mini retreat to do this soul searching or getting together with a group of friends and everybody sharing their perspective and looking. See, when someone else sees you from the outside, interesting, right? And wouldn't it be just great if there was a place where a group of like-minded industry professionals and peers would all be happening to get together, and you could take the time to get to know them and learn more about them and have them help you dig into finding your only. Yeah. You're in luck because LuAnn Live 2023 is right around the corner. This is an exceptional event because it is an opportunity for creating authentic connections. These opportunities for you to learn more about yourself and what you offer, and then take that into the world to grow your business, to serve your clients. Okay, this is an opportunity at LuAnn Live. LuAnn Live is sponsored by the Profit Insiders Group, right? So if you want to be in this room, if you want to find your only, or if you've already found your only and you need help getting to the next step, you are going to be in amazing company at LuAnn Live. Personal branding coach Rachel Johansson will be there. Videographer and storyteller extraordinaire Jude Charles will be there. Nicole White and Bria Hamill will be there. Corey Damon Jenkins, Brad Levitt will be there. The lineup is incredible. Cheryl Luckett will be there. Okay, there will be time to speak with these industry leaders, and you can ask them questions and bounce your ideas off them during lunch or dinner or down by the pool. And don't forget my Power Talk Friday experts who will be there as well. Nancy Ganskaufer, Tracy Connell, Nicole Heimer, Peter Lang, Claire Jeffords, Stacey Brown Randall. The list goes on. Imagine the brain trust in this room. Okay, and here's the one thing I want to make sure you understand very clearly about my events. Everyone is included. Everyone is welcome. Everyone has a seat at the table, the cocktail party, the lunch. This is not like events where you walk in and the people are all there and you're sort of not sure who to talk to, where to go. No. We're all there. We're all together. It's not like, okay, the panel is over. I wonder where everybody's going for lunch or dinner. No, everybody's going to the same place. We're staying together. All right. Everyone is talking, sharing, growing. It is so much fun. It is so different than other experiences. I love all of the events I go to all year long, but I specifically designed this one differently because I put into it the things that I enjoy when I get together with people. Okay, so visit LuAnnNiagara.com and click on the LuAnn Live button to register. You can also go right directly to LuAnnLive.com. All right. So thank you, Marilyn. You are a heck of a #smart lady. And this is a conversation we all need to consider and to always revisit throughout our careers. These questions, this idea of finding out what problem do we solve and what niche are we serving. Okay. Thank you tons for listening. I appreciate you so much. Go find your only and go find your people. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of LuAnn Niagara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or LuAnn University, go to LuAnnNiagara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to WindowWorksNJ.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.